So we'll call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. So good to see everyone. In the room, we have some guests. So we have Carl Madison and Giuliano Ceccanelli here in person, and I see Peter Anthony online. Did I miss anyone? Okay. So our first order of business is to elect a chairperson. Do we have a nomination?
I move that Alice be our, continue on as our chairwoman person.
Jenna has nominated Alice to continue in the role of chair.
I'll second that.
Guy seconded. Are there any other nominations? Anyone
Alice, how do you feel about that nomination?
That's okay. I can handle it, and I'm honored.
Welcome, Jason. Jenna just nominated Alice to continue as chair. Guy seconded it. We were looking to see if anyone else had a nomination or really wanted to jump into that role.
Mhm.
I don't see any volunteers, so any discussion?
And a silence fell upon them.
Yes.
All those in favor of Alice being the chairperson, please signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Alice, it's your meeting.
All righty. So, at this point, we would usually move forward to elect a vice chair, but we're going to hold off on that for a while until we make sure we have a full complement of members for the board. Is there any questions about that? Any concerns? All right, we'll just change that. We'll move 2.2 down after 6.1.
It's a long way away.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right, now we need to elect a clerk. Do we have volunteers or nominations for clerkhood?
I'll continue in my clerkhood position unless somebody else would be happy to do it, but I'm not a difficult.
Okay,
Scott, you look
I
relieved.
think that was a self-nomination, so I'm going to second it.
self nomination with a second.
Self-nominate. I will nominate her.
Thanks, Guy.
All right, any other nominations, volunteers? If not, we need to vote. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any opposition? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Welcome back, Jenna. Right. Now, a time and date for our regular monthly meetings. We have been meeting here on the,
Second Monday.
yep,
Can we continue with that schedule? Because that works with my other school board meetings, which I think is probably true for all of us.
yeah. Okay, so,
Is it true for everybody? Did any of your reorganizations move?
Barry moved to the first Monday of the month.
Okay.
All right.
So there's no conflicts?
This is very difficult for me. I have to turn here. Any conflicts for first Monday of the month?
Second.
Second Monday, I'm sorry, second Monday of the month? No conflicts for the second Monday of the month. Very good, all right, and time would remain as 6 p.m.?
Do you want to switch seats? Are you okay? Do you want to switch seats?
No, I'm okay. I'll
Just let me know.
fiddle
Do you want a
fuddle.
mirror?
Yes, yes,
Actually, let's just move the whole TV.
yes. All right, so that's taken care of. A board retreat date. Usually it's just a long meeting on a regular board night.
Don't we do it in the spring?
We've done it in June.
June.
I
yeah.
would like to propose an August date so
Okay.
that we can include some new facilities pieces
Good.
and get ready for that November bond vote.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So can we wait and schedule that? Maybe I can send out a poll and we can
Right.
look for a
So
date in
we take
August.
July off, right?
Correct.
So then we would be meeting the second Monday.
Correct.
Why is?
So we could just extend
Yeah,
that
why
one?
don't we do
Okay.
that?
So it would be the August meeting, the second Monday in August, and it will be an early start because of our
Yeah.
retreat. And we'll get an agenda organized and have everything set up for everybody.
What are the date?
August 11th?
August 11th?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to sing happy birthday to my daughter.
We can do that.
Done.
Yep. Bring her along.
How old will she be?
Trick question.
We'll ask again
Huh?
when it's
Yeah, right.
closer.
My kid just had a birthday, I forgot.
Carl, can you do me a huge favor and let Karen down?
Right, August 11th.
Okay.
Did we say what time?
No.
No, we'll figure out the start time when we get the agenda organized.
Okay.
We'll figure, but it probably would be, we'll do supper. Yeah, we'll do supper and
Yeah,
supper,
yeah.
4:35-ish, somewhere around there.
Supper?
Yeah,
Yeah, we usually start at 4.
4, yeah,
Okay, so let's just say 4 o'clock.
yeah, 4 o'clock, and then have dinner around 5 o'clock. All right, so designate committee memberships. Now, our standing committees are facilities,
Are you gonna stick with the?
program quality, is that it?
Negotiations.
Yes, negotiations. And negotiations. Do we have any volunteers for,
You should have, next page, it should have the whole.
I'm ignoring this. Find it. All right. So, we have facilities, program quality, and negotiations. Anyone volunteering for facilities, program quality, or negotiations?
Alice, I'm certainly willing to continue to serve on facilities and negotiations,
Okay,
as long as we can recruit a few more people.
right,
How's that?
For facilities. especially.
facilities, yes. Program quality,
I'm happy to continue on program quality.
okay, I'd like to do that as well. And
You
as we.
can't say anything until you're a member.
That's right. We'll move forward and maybe have to adjust some of us. So, how many, 3 people? 3 people committee, so we need a couple more people for facilities and a couple more people for negotiations.
I'll stay on negotiations.
Okay,
All right, Jason.
I will. I will as well.
okay, Scott. All right, we got everybody. So that takes care of negotiations, program quality, and we need 2 more folks for facilities. We could leave it blank, and when we get additional members, maybe they might want to serve on
Right,
that
but
committee.
Patrick or Corey, if you're excited about the project and wanna jump onto that, please feel free.
What's the kind of meeting cadence for that committee usually?
It has been the first Tuesday of the month in the past, but we,
Good.
depending on who's on it, could change
So
that.
once a month-ish?
Once a month, yeah.
All right, I can help with facilities.
Okay. Patrick, all right. Very good.
I'd be interested in facilities too, if you need some help.
Awesome, thank you.
Corey, wow.
All right. Okay, so that takes care of our committee assignments. District spokesperson is usually the superintendent.
Jody.
We need to agree to authorize the chair to sign employment contracts, but with the caveat that they are reviewed by the board first. So,
Okay.
any questions about that? Again, authorize the chair to sign other contracts, and that would be such as
I'd say no, and have it up to the superintendent,
Okay,
because all, that would just require that you sign all other contracts, and, that's not something you're gonna wanna do.
yeah, because that's brushes, brooms,
Yeah,
the whole
and
thing.
it's- Yeah, so if it's anything over $15,000, we have in our policy that it comes to the board level
Okay,
anyway. So I would authorize the superintendent if you're
Right.
okay with that.
does everyone agree with that? The superintendent would be the signatory on other contracts for the district.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Do you need a motion or?
Probably, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a motion to have the superintendent sign all miscellaneous contracts for the district.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second?
Okay, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we'll authorize Jody to sign miscellaneous contracts. Designate a person to sign the warrants. In that case,
I think we should
Super-
continue with Joe, yeah,
Superintendent.
superintendent. And at this time, you can designate me as an alternate.
okay. So we're at Jody Emerson as the primary signatory and Michelle as the alternate. Any concerns? Very good, all right, we're done with that.
So we've kind of been through this whole thing.
Thing, yes. So this, the location for posting agendas and minutes, we have the town and the city clerk's offices, front porch forum, the district website, and the Facebook page. That should pretty much cover anyone, and we usually post one here in the office anyway, don't we, in case people are passing through? Yes. Okay, so we have that,
Oh, I see. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay,
So
I have
that's
it
where
here.
we're,
Thank you.
that's,
We send them to our sending schools too.
Yes.
And ask them to post.
okay. Agreement on the use of Robert's Rules of Order, and we'll just note that it's the long form of Robert's Rules of Order, not the short form. Any questions about using Robert's Rules of Order? Hearing none. The Code of Ethics is our
It's our code of ethics.
Code of Ethics are agreed upon
There it is.
right here. The multicolored sheet that we abide by these particular practices and roles. Is there any question about that?
No?
All right. So basically, we are responsible, polite individuals. Communication practices. Most of our communications emanate from the superintendent and the chair. Is there anything else that anyone else would see as a method of communication that we need to use?
And just going through this process, when we ask, does anybody have any other agenda items or any other business, but that's part of our,
Yes, you're always, everyone is welcome to
Right.
participate. Board development opportunities. We have at our,
disposal.
disposal. We have at our disposal the Vermont School Boards Association and anything else that might come up as far as internal that we would hear from our faculty members when they bring us information about their courses. And so we have all kinds of opportunities for that. Anyone else?
Is the School Board Association doing this lunch webinar every month?
Pretty much so,
Okay.
yeah. And then they also have a bank of training videos that are
Right.
on YouTube.
Right.
So anyone's welcome to tune into them and check out what they're offering. Local and statewide education advocacy responsibilities. Well, we're here. And we advocate for career and technical education, and I don't think there's anybody who is going to dispute that.
The only other thing would be if Jody asked us to go to the legislature for some reason, you know.
Right. So,
Is there a responsibility that we advocate for career education in our home boards?
yes, as
Yes.
well.
That's part of
And
that.
yes, and bring the information that we, as the representatives from our board, if we sit on the board, bring that information back to to our board. So if there's anything exciting or important that they need to know, we can share that with them.
Great.
And you have a counselor at
Alice
you're U32,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Who, the school counselor who is in who does all the work. with-
Okay.
So, the transition work, the stepping up, you know, all of that. So
They do that, yep.
you might wanna talk.
Yep. Guy, you have a question, comment?
No, just a comment. Just want to remind folks that, you know, Jody's, the president of the association. I'm trying to remember how long that's going to be, Jody, but, certainly in that role, we have a seat at the table, and I'm really happy that she's doing that.
It's until August and then, or September, that we transition the president, and then the sitting vice president takes over, and I'll be past president. And at that time, we're actually gonna take on the fiscal responsibility for VACTED, so I'll be treasurer at that point. So we'll still have an executive committee role.
Okay. Our designated newspaper is the Times-Argus. Our board packet format is shared electronically and in a paper form, so that everyone can have that opportunity, both members of the board and the public and the faculty.
It's paper form when you come in person. If anyone ever needs it mailed to them, please let me know so that I can prepare it a little bit sooner to try to get it to you in the mail.
Okay. And to appoint the district's voting delegate for statewide healthcare bargaining, it routinely is the chair of the negotiations committee, so we'll put that off until the negotiations committee chooses a chair. They can tell us, and then we can add that to the list. Is there anything else that we need to do to organize ourselves as the Career Center School District Board? All right, moving forward. Back to our agenda. We are now up to item 3, comments for items not on the agenda. Do we feel a need that we need to go over our norms? We can all manage, we've all read these?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Carl, did you have, I don't think I put your follow-up to your program presentation on the agenda, so do you wanna make a comment about that? Cause you had reached out about that.
So when I did my program presentation back in January, I think it was, following the outline that the board wanted us to follow for program presentations, there was some questions and some requests that I had at the end of my presentation, and I was just wondering if the board had looked into any of that.
Okay.
So I know that Alice is doing reaching out to the governor and the legislature, and I had done some outreach. I don't know if there was anything else, and I don't have that pulled up. Let me find it.
I can tell you what I've done. I called the governor's office. I called our Washington County legislators and encouraged them strongly to support career and technical education because of the need for public service items such as the EMS 1 and 2 people. So those messages were delivered. They heard them. if there's anything that they're working on in that light as far as budgeting. Of course, the big question from the Washington County legislators is what the plan is for realigning the schools. And once they get that squared away, then they will work on how to see how the career centers fit into that plan.
So the requests on that last slide were continue this vital program while removing program challenges, creative thinking to ensure long-term financial sustainability, advocate to BTSU and AOE to collaborate to make the program eligible for fast forward, thus partially or fully supporting the program financially, advocate to BTSU and AOE to allow first-year post-high school graduate students to be afforded the same opportunities as adult students in other CTE programs, and the long-term goal of moving to a CTE high school and students having access to more college credits degree. If we can figure out the funding, we can replicate the model across more programs.
Nice.
Okay, so we've done, okay. Agenda revisions board comment, we've sort of already done that already, that we moved.
Can I ask that
Sure.
we consider putting the executive sessions in front of action items,
Okay,
since many of them relate to action items?
alrighty. So this would be the, all of the consent agenda. So we'll put the executive session.
Between 5 and 6.
Okay. And that's number 7.
Then I have to go, right? Then I have to go,
Oh,
because I can't be in the executive.
you could probably just squeeze it in between 6.1 and 6.2,
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
so that this can happen.
Really gummed up with work. didn't
that's
I?
all
Well,
right.
but you still have to be sworn in
To vote or to participate?
to be a board member?
You have to do it every year.
Yep.
Yep.
I think so.
Do you have an oath, do you have an oath sheet?
Executive session?
Oh, yeah.
True.
Do you
But
have,
to
Vote.
vote.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times we do that at the annual meeting. We didn't swear
Right.
anyone in because everybody was from their own, we're
Yeah.
not there.
We were appointed from our own school
Right,
districts.
so
Right.
you're already sworn in.
Right.
right. Phooey.
Guy, did you get sworn in?
No, not officially.
Okay, so I think you have to do that with Tina.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get deported tonight. I'm illegal.
You can be invited into the discussion, but I think there's a concern about ability to vote.
Right. Yeah, I'll make sure I do that.
Sorry, I didn't remind you. And Lyman couldn't have because he's not.
Well,
appointed yet.
there's nothing here, we're just approving minutes. And program decision here. Reduction in force, ooh, okay. These
We
things,
still have a quorum.
okay,
We'll be okay.
all right, just wanna make sure that we're not. All right, so where are we putting the executive session? We're putting it between 6.1 and 6.2?
Yep.
All right, so we'll put it there. We'll move it there. So let's,
6.1A.
yep. All right, so, we'll. So we're up to the, agenda revisions, board comment, any comment from members of the board on, for any pressing information that needs to come before this board? Right. Public comments, we had no members of the public, oh, yes, we, oh.
Oh, did Peter's still here? You got a comment, Peter? No. Okay, I have an email from Ruth Durkee.
Okay,
She and Julia Schuster reached out about any programs that we might be closing. And when I said that the board was making that decision tonight, Ruth said, Please know that the program would not qualify for any Perkins or time grant funds next year if enrollment is below 7. And AOE will have to formally address whether the program would qualify for state CTE tuition funds if enrollment does not increase to at least 7 concentrators after one more school year. So I just sharing that
Okay.
as it relates to our conversation tonight.
So we need 7 program.
Go ahead, Peter. Sorry, Alice.
Thanks very much. I would defer to Giuliano on the fine points, but I sure hope the Stone program continues in some way, and so does obviously the Granite Museum. Simply thinks it's a resource that we would hate not to be used by area interested youngsters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. All right, so we're there, public comment, and then we move forward to any more public comment, just be sure, in correspondence, that's it? Okay. We move forward to the consent agenda, which are minutes from 2/24, annual meeting, minutes, now the annual meeting.
One of them should just say regular meeting, the approval of minutes from the CVCC SD 2/24/25. Oh, no, that was a special meeting, never mind.
Okay. Now,
Ignore me.
the annual meeting, though, is not a meeting of the board, so we don't necessarily have to approve the minutes of that.
We have done so in the past.
I know,
Huh.
but that's something that I learned from
Oh, cool.
sitting next to the assistant town clerk.
How do you like that?
Yes,
So they're automatically,
they're just there.
they're just there.
Yep, they're just
Okay.
there for what they are. So we would be approving the minutes of the 2/24 and the minutes of the 2/28.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Any questions or concerns about the minutes of 2/24 and 2/25? Right,
You mean
to
28,
2/28. I'll get there.
because it's 24, 25.
Yes. Too many numbers. All right, but,
Wait, I think I'm listed as being present on the 24, and I was not there.
okay,
You could
For the
find-
24th, okay.
Yep.
okay. So we will approve them with any minor corrections that may have been noted. And we will, we have a motion and a second to approve those with any minor corrections that may be necessary. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Nope. Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to number 5, board reports. Student representatives to the board. Do we have? We don't have one at this time. Okay.
Again.
He's
I see
working.
Abby's on here though, so Abby, maybe we can round up somebody for April.
Okay.
I will work on that.
Thank you.
Okay. And program presentation tonight is the welding program.
Eric Relations.
It is.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I have I didn't know how this was gonna work as far as, I have a whole bunch of work from kids, students that I just didn't know how it was gonna work, if I can set it on your table, if you
Sure.
wanna come to shop.
We
or
will,
If you give me 5, it can do any which way, I just didn't know with the
Let's go to the
camera.
field trip.
Okay.
I didn't know
Are
how,
you gonna be able
you could-
to
yeah,
go and
if you
record
guys
it?
wanna come down, I'd be more than happy to have
Join
you
from
get on
the
there.
phone.
What's
You
easiest
want
for
me to
you?
stay here?
Well, it would probably be easiest that way, cause I don't wanna slam a whole bunch of metal plates on your table and stuff. I would be nice about it, but I can go either way, whatever you guys
Okay.
wanna do.
so what we will do is we will,
I can bring the stuff down here and
Can we
show
take
you.
them with us?
I'm gonna try to log in from my phone so I can
Oh,
take
so
everybody.
did
If
with
you
me.
want, I can bring it down here
No,
and
it's
put it on
fine.
the table.
The shop is a good space for everyone to see.
It'd probably be a good thing to see after all the
Yeah.
investment,
Absolutely.
yes.
It's exciting.
Do you want me to join on my computer and bring it?
Sure, that's
I'd
probably
have to
better.
just be.
Or I can bring it, well,
yeah, we just have to make sure that
Guy
we,
has a hand raised.
all right, Guy, question?
just a technicality. So since I made a couple of motions already, and one was to have you be chair, I'm probably out of order. So at some point, we should correct that.
Yes, and I would suggest that what we do is we wait until our next meeting and then affirm that at the next meeting. And by that time, you would have all your paperwork and everyone else would have your paperwork, and we may have some additional members by that time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We didn't want you to lose sleep over that one.
Right?
Well, I did give up my Canadian citizenship, so I can't go back.
Right, so are we ready? All right,
So we have no hot work going on in the shop, so we will be okay without safety glasses.
Okay.
Okay, but I can get them for everybody.
If you want to put them on, there's nothing going on, but.
Okay.
No,
Are
let's,
there
Right.
signs?
So
Yes.
what we will do is we are going to adjourn to the welding program, and we will be back in
15
20 minutes,
15 to 20 minutes.
Had my photo right here.
my mother was a welder.
Who was?
My mother.
Your
was a
mother?
Rosie's original.
Oh, yeah.
She worked in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Oh, yeah.
Did you replace the one that was damaged?
I don't know if you've replaced it yet. I thought it was at that end, but. Really in it.
Yeah. So what, did you burn holes in it? What a doof for his lane.
It was like,
Yeah.
that's been really cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, that's significant
Yeah.
to do that. Wow. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Basically throughout the course of.
These are screens, or these are protective screens.
Yeah, there's a amount of light that comes out. These are the two ones that you can do. This is the certification. This is for limited thickness. This is one that failed. So like that piece right there started out like this. Oh, wow. And that's a side bend,
Wow.
bent like that.
Yeah.
Basically, so this is basically a 1-inch piece of plate with beveled all the way out to the vacuum strip. And this was all filled up with a stick welder to that point.
Bend it.
Yeah, it's actually like the one that failed. This actually we just did kind of for fun because we left the vacuum strip on, but this one right here, that's actually how they're prepared. That's an unlimited thickness one, where it's that thick. A limited thickness is made out of this plate, thinner plate. But this will give you up to 3/4 of an inch certification. This one will give you up to 6-inch thick plate if you pass the certification. In the position that you're welding it in, either flat, horizontal, overhead, or vertical.
So what would that look like in the form that you get it?
We would first start welding on it. You come right over here to the booth, you can see one. This is one that's been partially finished. This one's in process right now. You come right in if you want. See?
Wait, can you all see this?
How long does it take?
If you stay on it, you could probably do it in just a little over 2 hours, maybe 2.5. The problem is when you start getting up to a certain point, the inner pass temperature will get so much that you won't be able to control it. You're going to have to give it a period of time to cool down. You can't really quench it because it'll change the metallurgical properties. Yeah.
So what are they doing there? Are they welding those two pieces together? Or?
Yeah, basically. I'll show you a little sample. I set all these up in here.
Oh.
To kind of show
Can we come in?
a whole bunch of them in here. After I started working here, and I think guys seen this before we came in for the open house. This is finished work right here. A week and a half to 2 weeks after they came to the shop. Some of them could never even light the rod.
Do you have 11 students?
I have 13 now. 2 of them took them home,
Okay.
so I didn't have them. But
Can I touch it?
yeah. So yeah. So I mean, this is basically somebody going from never welding before in 2 weeks. This is what we were getting. Not everybody, but some people had a little bit more than others. But some people had no experience at all.
This is good.
Yeah. There's another coupon. You can see that V in there.
Yeah.
That's the actual weld metal. That's the metal they put in there.
Oh,
That's why it's a V. That's the actual weld metal. This one is good enough. It didn't even have really any flaws in it.
Wow.
look at that.
So where's one that you did in comparison?
Me, I only did one, and I did a limited over there.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
My volume's on.
This is one that one of the students just did. He just started laying beads in there. It's like 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a specimen with a slag inclusion in it. That one probably wouldn't pass. And this is an unlimited one with a slag inclusion.
Okay.
So that's basically flux where it should be metal. When it goes bent,
Okay.
it'll end up tearing.
Can you hear me?
So this,
Yeah.
is this a solid piece here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So feed out. See how this is on this end? It's like that, basically, and then the weld metal will fill this up, and I cut a specimen out of the middle of it. And that's what these specimens, when you do this thickness plate, this is the specimen. When you do a plate like this, then this is the specimen because it's so thick you can't bend it, so you need to do a side bend on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like this limited thickness is thin enough where I can just bend it.
You can just bend it?
Yeah, like that. I'll show you
Bare-
the.
this
With a
is
whole
like
lot,
this.
with his bare hands.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one.
Yeah, that's one
slice
piece.
off of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the same thing here. This is basically a slice off of here.
Oh.
That's heavy duty. That is
So
amazing.
when you do this, you do side bend, so it doesn't really matter. But when you do this limited thickness, you do a face bend and then you do a root bend. So this is the root, this is the face. So you can test both sides. So like when I did these, one of them's a face, one of them's a root. Right there, see that face?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And then this one says root.
okay.
So you bend them up, one that way and
Right.
one the other way.
Right.
So you can test both sides.
Now, what industry would call for that type of work?
What we're doing, basically welding industry, fabrication. This is an AWS, like a industry recognized. AWS is like the Bible book of welding. Like they basically set all the record, everything you need to do, all the specifications, inspections, everything. They pretty much set everything, all the guidelines.
Wow. So are our students building a portfolio then of all the steps along the way of a photographic or video portfolio?
Basically, we take. I have one person that kind of goes around and takes pictures during the day, and all the students get to keep their specimens. Like if you want, you can take a walk out here in the shop. Most of them, if they've had good ones, or even if they've had bad ones, they have them hanging in their booth. They kind of go around and get ready. These are headers right here. here. He did a really good job.
What is that artistic sculpture? Yeah.
It's basically just one of my students was trying to do some different angle. It's not really artistic, but it might look like it. But yeah, he's just trying to do a different position of the well. Might look, like I said, it might look a little artistic, but
The back plate.
yes, like here it's got a little bit of it.
Yeah.
I'll show you something else that's kind of artistic, but it's not. At the same time. But this right here, this is some TIG welding beads.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty nice consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's matte. Yeah.
Sorry. Did they weld this chair?
Try to pick that chair up.
Oh, yeah, I was just,
Pick this chair up.
holy guacamole.
They built it in the class.
I don't know if you can see this chair.
Yeah, they built the chair in the class. And I'll show you something. See ya.
It's heavy.
I don't want nobody stealing it.
No.
I don't think anybody's gonna steal it if
How
they put
many
them.
pounds is that?
They said 111, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
111 pounds. Like we got everything going here. I have TIG, MIG, stick, flux core, short circuiting MIG, pulse MIG.
This is an easy one.
Yeah.
What's the most?
It depends on the person. Some people have when they come in, they'll be like just kind of drawing something and they seem to have good rhythm to it. This student right here basically was drawn with the TIG welder and he's like running with it. He's doing a pretty good job. I'd say if you can do stick in all position, it's really good training to get started. Basically, it gives you a lot of motions. You're trying to basically hang the metal in the air. If you can do stick, you can pull a trigger and probably do MIG welding and flux core. The TIG welding is hard too because you're feeding the wire. It's kind of like old style gas welding. I've been basically having to do a lot of stick because it takes a lot of the motions and the manipulation to basically carry over into the other processes. I'll show you the bender that I made.
Daniel's house or is that a lunchbox?
Daniel, he's making like a little board thing.
Box?
So he's like slowly working on it as he's doing his other stuff.
Oh.
He's got a little piece he's working on.
Oh, yeah.
It's taking him a little while, but
Very cool.
yeah. And I'll show you down here the coupon vendor that we'll use. We make those.
Cadillac air system, but everything we can take with us to an assembly.
Not huge, but pretty good. This is the machine I made with Ben. Yeah, I try to make it.
You guys didn't need this.
They have a nice press down at auto, but the problem is if I try to go down to auto, I can't really leave it where I have to bring out the glass. So I'm like, I'd much rather.
Oh, you built this?
Yes, I built this, and this is what's bending all the coupons.
Oh, nice.
So I can have kids after they're done, after the students are done, they can come down here and get gratified by bending them themselves. And otherwise, like I said, I was telling him I have to go down to auto to do it, and it's pretty hard to get down.
So you have to heat it to bend it, or
No.
oh really?
I just do it folded in here. Basically, it just comes right straight up, bends it, and then I have this little piece on top just to kind of hold it, and another piece, so when it comes up, it just sits in there and you can pull it right out. Look at it. It's pretty gratifying for the kids to be able to do that because they spend all that time welding, 2-3 hours, and then they got to cut them and grind them all up, and then they got to put them in here and pop them, and they can either see they crack or they're good.
Yeah. They made
This
a
to
bender.
bend those U's, so I'm not as strong as you thought. But yeah, we still squish them, get them up there. First thing we were trying to do is, I was making a jig to bend them in automotive, but it's not really feasible because I can't get down there with the whole class very often. So it works way better here. When get them all done, they come over here, bend them, and then on to the next. It's a lot quicker.
And this is scrap?
Yeah, all donated from Capital Steel. It's probably donated over a ton of steel.
They've been
for
great.
my program. DMS has started donating. They've actually had their project manager and their head draftsman come in for 3 hours last Wednesday, spend time in our class and come into the shop, giving blueprint reading classes and welding symbols,
That's so cool.
and they're gonna continue to do it. They're like really pumped
They're
about
into
this
it.
whole
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, that's great.
So,
This is gonna feed their industry.
Yeah.
our kids, when they're done with this and they have their certification, DMS is like a type of place that they can get.
Yeah, I already have 3 of my current students working there right now. 3 of them are working there right now, part-time after school, on vacations. He said that Byron, the owner of DMS, told me they were turning work away because they don't have enough manpower.
So is that a lot opportunity?
Oh yeah, hardcore. They're right in with both feet. They're ready to go. Byron told me he wants to make this center the best one in the state.
Yeah.
Us too.
And he's gonna, and he'll do it too with the resources that he has. And he won't have any problem because basically he said he's having a hard time finding people that can do the work. And he's like at the point where he'd rather have a young student come up and bring him up through than try to work with some of the people that he's been dealing with. So it's good. Now I basically, at my stance now is I just have to try to go through and find some places here for the students to work at.
Yeah.
I know it's not totally my job, but I feel like it is to an extent, and I know we can open up that can of worms pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Got some,
Just have to build some partnerships, and then after that,
go down to Capitol and see Rob for a little while, and I'll have about 20 names, and we can start
there you go.
Yeah.
for sure. That's where I feel like a good start.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are back at table. Had a brief interlude in the welding area. It's quite exciting. I would recommend that anyone who happens to be interested in it needs to pop in and say hello and see what's going on there. It's really exciting.
So, Alice, I just want to make a couple of comments because I've been down there a couple times, and this is an example of an instructor who was involved in the industry for a number of years and is imparting his knowledge onto our students, which is, I'm really proud of this board, really working hard to make sure that we can accommodate those people. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's really important. The other thing I want to share with folks is that when I first met with him, he said, today's welding machines can operate themselves. They don't need people to operate them. He says, but I don't start them there. I start them from ground zero, from the old days of welding. So then when they get to that place, they feel overly comfortable. And the last thing I will say is, having looked at, fortunately or unfortunately, the potential new spaces and the potential new building, I'm absolutely amazed at what he can get accomplished in that small space. It's not huge. I just wanted to mention that.
Yep. So that was really exciting, and we really thank you for your time and for building community support, which is incredible to have that toward any one of our programs, but to have that kind of community support and community need, so that we are filling a need just like we do with EMS. So
I think it was last week, Eric said to me, he started in October, the end of October. He said that the students have forgotten that month where they didn't have an instructor.
I
And
feel
that
like
is
they have.
it is
That's
wonderful.
great.
It has been such a
Yeah.
great experience with Eric, so we're so grateful he's here.
He collaborated with Expo this year, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys as the farm team of, I've got some kids coming into my class that I really, every one of them, after I first met them, they basically sent me an email saying that they had a good experience. And they're so polite
Oh, that's
and
so
really
nice, yeah.
respectful, and it also gives you a good idea of the students' personalities before they just come into your program. You get to know them, like my first name, like Cash. I know Cash. He always says hi, David. Same thing.
It was a good crowd from us.
Yes. And I appreciate that, being able to draw from that.
excellent. So there's a future in welding.
So, lots of future, and I can't believe it took this long to get into this center. When I went to school here at Spalding, 35 years ago. And they had machine trades, and right when I came in, they got rid of machine trades.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll hold on to you and the welding program, along with everyone else. All righty, committee reports. Facilities, project update, negotiations, program quality. So facilities has a program update.
Since Terry's not on our board anymore and we're looking, looks like we'll have a new crew for facilities, I just wanted to let you know that the architecture team has given us 6 concept designs. So version 6 is on the table here. I'll send it out to the board to take a look at before the end of the day tomorrow. And I think that staff are getting excited about it. For the people in the room, they can see that I've got some questions on my whiteboard here in this space, and I've been meeting individually with all instructors, just to ask them what's gonna change, what's gonna be similar in this new building, what can we do to build up to the new building, and what are the challenges or barriers to that. So we're having one-on-one discussions, and then a small group of staff will continue to meet with the architects to give them feedback as we move through the process. The other piece is that I sent you all an updated copy of the agreement for the land, the option agreement. What I hadn't noticed was in that last one that we approved, there were missing pieces. And there was one more missing piece that was added today, and that was around when the sellers would need to move. So we added, legal counsel added a line into the closing part of it that says, we will negotiate when they have to move at the closing.
Okay.
So that's why that's back on our agenda for action tonight. Negotiations has a option for executive session.
Okay.
And program quality has not met.
No. We'll commence our work next month, right?
Yeah.
Is that good? All right, we'll do that.
I mean, we had a meeting, but it was just Jody and I.
Yes, so we'll have our first official meeting in April. All right, very good. Has everyone had enough? This is second floor. What's the total square footage of the latest?
Good question. It's up, I don't know, with the gym and the classrooms, it's probably up over 150,000 square foot.
Okay.
And that will be a future board decision of whether we're, when we go out for a bond vote, do we have the gym and those classrooms, or do we not have that? And that's a future addition.
Okay. So that takes care, is there any other information from facilities? No. Program quality will meet in April. We'll move forward to the superintendent's report.
So I think Feb break was a great reset, although maybe if the time change happened during that would also be helpful.
Right.
It's definitely hard adjusting to that.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it is. On Friday, 176 students were notified that they were accepted into programs. 20 students are moving forward in co-op, so that's 196 students so far. We also reminded folks that they could, if they were denied or hadn't applied yet, that they could apply. Applications for second round closed at 3 o'clock today. We had 3 programs go to HOSA, which is it used to be the Health Occupations Students of America. It's a career and technical student organization. The other one that is most known is Skills USA. So our EMS 1, 2, and medical professions went there. I think it's been renamed Future Health Professionals. And they had a wonderful day, it sounded like, and it was beautiful Friday, so that helped, at UVM in that. Electrical students are joining into the Hill Street home, Habitat for Humanity home. And so we'll see both building trades and our electrical students back on site this week, starting tomorrow.
Great.
And our electrical students have also been asked to take on a project at the Granite Museum, so they'll be there as well. Obviously not in both places at once. I highlighted the alumni that came back for automotive. I've already shared the concept design number 6. And one of the wonderful things about that concept design is it's also sitting out there on the counter. And so when parents came in person on parent-teacher conference night, a lot of them were just drawn to the counter and looking at those designs and making comments. And like, it's too bad my son or daughter is not going to be able to be in this facility, but it's been needed. And so it was very enthusiastic and positive.
Okay.
I think that feeling permeated our towns who vote for the budget, you know. It was nice to have such overwhelming support.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you go, you hear overwhelming support for
Yeah.
the Career Center. Church groups, municipal groups, everybody is saying just how wonderful it is. So we'll hopefully that will carry over.
I guess my final word would be that I am giving testimony tomorrow in House Commerce and Economic Development regarding their proposal for a single CTE district.
Okay.
So.
What time?
That's a good question. Let me look at my calendar. I can't do that.
Those committee rooms are a little awkward, aren't they?
1 o'clock.
When I was watching.
We have
They're
some
ones that are like
staff meeting.
right next and.
So I may end up I may be on the Zoom instead of actually in person because I want to make sure that I'm still here for the 2:30 staff meeting tomorrow.
Alrighty.
But yes, they tend to be cramped.
Yeah. Alrighty. Moving forward, we're going to move to the business manager's report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a passed budget. Woohoo! Thank
Yeah.
you. Congratulations.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good to go. Yeah. Some staffing updates. We welcome Dan Boris. Is that how you say his last name? As the interim co-op coordinator. Excited to have him. He's going to finish up the
Nice.
year with us.
Yeah.
We do have some open positions for next year. So the integrated academics humanities, the anticipated electrical technology instructor, in case we can get that second classroom, the co-op coordinator, and the coordinator of adult ed. So, anybody wants to work for us?
The humanities, I don't.
Hired after April 1.
Yep.
Are they, that's a full-time position?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had a 1-year contract, so it's open.
We're anticipating that those individuals, the co-op, the adult ed, and the humanities, that they'll all reapply.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope everybody
Applies,
reapplies.
yes.
Yep. Some of these are just formalities.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Give you the copy of the
What are you
current
thinking
ledger.
of? I can't get on the board because I might apply for that
No,
job.
no,
Yeah.
no, not in,
Go
not.
ahead.
Just checking.
The current ledger, I shared that. You guys, it's gonna start looking a little scary. Right now, we have a negative balance of $18,000, but remember, in May of last year, we voted to use our fund balance to finish doing our projects that we needed around here
Yep.
for our program. So, we didn't really need that money at the end of FY '24, but we are using it this year
That's
for all
good.
those summer projects. So, right now, we have about $270,000 that we used in the welding lab, and about $87,000 that we use for the architectural and engineering for our new facilities. So it will look like we are on the negative, but again, we are just spending a fund balance that we have. Later tonight, you'll see that the automotive brake lathe machine equipment was approved in our Perkins grant, and I will be formally requesting that you approve the purchase of this item.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
These are all state grants, is that correct?
No.
Perkins is federal.
Do we have any idea if any of those grants are gonna be?
Honored.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be coming up.
Right, anything else? All right, so much for our business manager's report. Any questions about the business manager's report? Any questions? All right. Very good. So we'll move on to board appointments and process for the districts that require appointees.
Harvard and Washington Central, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Harwood and Washington Central, and also East Montpelier at. Roxbury. All right.
Right.
So, we have someone who's interested in the Montpelier Roxbury.
Yes.
And that would be Mr. Lyman Castle.
Yes. I
So-
would be interested in the 1 year
Okay, the 1 year.
term.
All right.
Finish out the term for that guy who left.
He looked a lot like you.
You know, I thought I could slide right in. Didn't even know.
Pennsylvania doesn't know what they're missing.
Right.
So all that. So, we need to appoint Lyman Castle as the, representative of Montpelier Roxbury. I need a motion to appoint Lyman as that.
So moved.
Moved by Jana. I need a second to appoint Lyman Castle as, representative of the Montpelier Roxbury schools.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? Anyone have any questions, concerns?
Is he gonna be as great as he's been?
So first, I do
good as
want
the
to
last
share
guy?
that
Right.
we reached out to legal counsel about this before when Lyman found out that he was going to be staying after all, and they said that we did have to go through the town meeting vote
Yep.
since it was warned, but that we could then immediately, without going out for a different type of asking for people to apply, we could reappoint
Appoint
him
him.
to his position.
Great.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any, anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Just to let you know, Alice, I'm not voting, but if I could, I'd vote twice.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you, Guy.
All righty, very good. So Lyman Castle is now the,
Welcome
Official
back.
Yes.
Get
chair.
sworn in.
yes,
I'll go get sworn
or
in.
sworn in,
I
but
gotta
it-
go see John Odom, right?
yes. But in the meantime, in anticipation of Mr. Castle being sworn in and signing his oath and all that good stuff, he was previously nominated to be the vice chair. So we could again, do the same thing. We could elect him as vice chair and then affirm it at the next meeting after his oath and all of that is signed.
Okay.
All right? All those in favor of Lyman Castle being the vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. So we have a temporary vice chair in the form of Mr. Lyman Castle of Montpelier Roxbury.
Thank you.
We'll take,
Thank you. I look
take-
forward to it.
all right. Now, moving on, we have a program decision
We're going to go to executive session
for that.
next.
Okay, oh, right, executive. Jeez, I moved. Yes, there it is.
I'm sorry, can I go back for what's the, we're gonna discuss the process for,
Yes, we do.
what is the process for?
So in the past, what we've done is we've asked people to write to myself or the chair. They can do an email, they can do
Okay.
an actual letter, expressing interest. And if there are more than one person that's interested, then we would invite them to that April meeting and ask them some questions we
Right.
interviewed in the past, and then choose one.
All right, great. So hopefully April, this will
Yes.
work out, okay.
Yep. And I know there's somebody, your superintendent reached out to me with a name from
Great.
Washington Central. So I told him I would respond as soon as I knew what the process is. So if we're gonna move forward with that same process, then I will let them know.
Excellent.
Are we going to advertise, do a front porch forum or something like that to let people know?
We can't do another front porch forum until April 1.
We can as an individual though, right?
You can as an individual,
Okay.
absolutely.
But I'm not in the district. So if somebody who's in the Harwood district, or on the Waterbury front porch.
Corey
Yeah.
can, yeah.
Corey's like, what?
Is he really on a beach or is
I heard my
that?
name and I missed something about me. What?
So if you could, I don't know if you have front porch forum, but if you do,
Yeah.
could you post that anyone interested in the at-large seat could write to the chair or myself? I'll
Sure.
send you a blurb and then you can post it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
awesome.
So he'll do the Harwood.
And I think the Waterbury Roundabout was gonna post it for us too.
So that'll
Yeah,
help.
do you need me to contact Lisa or?
No, she'll probably email me before I even leave today.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I can
What?
share that with other board members too, to get other front porch forums in my district.
Awesome, that would be great, thank you, Corey.
So, let's see.
And the same for you, Patrick, if you can post it or
Yep.
let your board members know so that they can post it. I'll send the blurb to both of you.
I've been telling the board members every meeting, but I'll post it.
And I'll
Happy to
also
post it.
share the name that I got,
Great.
just so you know.
Thanks.
And Washington Central, that goes beyond Berlin.
That's U32.
Too, right, so I don't know what front porch forums would carry.
Alice, East Montpelier, Berlin,
Okay,
Worcester,
Middlesex,
and Middlesex.
okay. We'll see if we can get that in. All right,
But you have a name, so
Yeah.
that's good.
It's good.
There might be more, but.
Yeah.
right. It's also, I think it's wise to put it out there.
Yeah.
So that we do that. All right. So, now, personnel, no, let's see. Now we're doing executive session. I need to get my arrows straight here. All right. So we're going to move to executive session.
7.2.
Yes.
We're moving to executive session at 7:10.
Okay.
If somebody makes that motion.
Motion, Gina.
I move that we move into executive session,
Okay.
7:10.
And we would do that, we need, okay. To move into executive session with all the board members, Superintendent Emerson and Business Manager Michelle Lehman, for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of which public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage.
Wait, are we doing 7:1 or 7:2?
7.2, I already actually shared the 7.1.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay,
it
Yep.
was
right,
benign enough that I.
right, so it
Yeah.
didn't have to be executive session.
We can take that off.
I'm crossing that off then.
So we're discussing personnel. And what about negotiations? Should we do this
That'll be a separate one, we can do that later.
later? Okay, so right now we're just
Somebody
doing,
second it?
we're doing 7.2.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of moving into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? We therefore will move into executive session. We need a motion to exit executive session.
Oh, I thought we did.
We did.
But you have to vote in public to exit executive session. So,
Okay, I move that we exit executive session.
session.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor of exiting from executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any, negative? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion- we are now
Alice.
back in general session. Yes, sir.
I'm just
Guy?
abstaining, Alice, I'm just abstaining because I'm
Okay.
not legal.
Okay, so you're basically not voting. Okay, we'll note that. The guy doesn't vote. All right, so we need to move into 6.3 where we have a whole battery of things that we, 6.2, program decision. Too many arrows here. All right, so the program decision that we're faced with is not continuing two particular programs, design and fabrication and EMS 2. So,
I'll make a motion to close design and fabrication and EMS 2.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion?
I would kind of like to hear the discussion as to why the board feels that way. Because right now, the numbers have increased in the program. So I'm sure Jody shared the numbers with you.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious as to why that decision was made, and with only a little bit of openness towards this process.
So for design and fabrication, 4 students were accepted in round 1, is that accurate? And there were, in round 2, 6 first choice and 3 second choice. And for EMS 2, there were no new applicants in second round. I think 4 students accepted in the first round. And,
In one co-op student,
and what, yeah,
which counts as my numbers.
a co-op student that could go EMS 1 or 2, but yes. So 4 students plus 1 co-op. And then 1 student who was denied their first choice in the first round and would be moved forward in second round for EMS 2.
And Jody, you shared the numbers with me, so I've only had these numbers for.
Since you showed up.
Since this meeting started. And I've asked for the numbers and even the progression of the numbers and haven't received them. So it's very difficult to understand the process. And I talked to 2 students at Spalding who just barely signed up. So at 2:00, they signed up, they had confirmations, and I don't know if those
This
are
is
the
the
numbers.
3 o'clock numbers. That's when I got numbers, because you had asked me before 3 o'clock and I didn't have them then either. Correct.
Because the design and fabrication in round 3, that's when the majority of applicants come in. And I even have documentation to show over the 3-year period, in round 3, there's been 5 first choice applicants, 4 first choice applicants, and another 5 first choice applicants. So first round, second round, pretty much nothing. I think there were a couple in 2023 that applied in first round, second round, first choice. So design and fabric, and it's just been 3 days and the numbers increased. So my issue is that the potential students were locked into waiting for their decision, and they got their decision, and now they're thinking about what to do next. And with the weekend and a Monday, it's almost doubled.
Would you like me to say anything more?
What we took into consideration was the fact that there are a lot of pressing things on this. It isn't just us. We have notification from AOE that this, if we don't have enough students in either of these classes, it could put our 6-semester average at high risk. And it could also put our Perkins funding at high risk. So we have to take that into consideration for making these decisions. According to the information that we have, that the board has now, of the 4 students that were originally accepted in round 1, there are 2 that may be going other places. Are you aware, do you have any information on that?
I don't, and I think that's attributed to Hannah bringing those students in and telling them that the program was closing.
I think that those 4 students that were accepted, that was their first choice, first round. I do think that they would stick with design and fabrication if
Okay.
it was an option.
All right, and of this, the 6 first choice and 3 second choice, there are some considerations as to whether or not those students are actually viable candidates. Do we have any information that they are?
I see, usually there's a behavior report, there's all
Yeah.
sorts of reports coming out. I just barely found out the numbers, so I haven't gone through the process, and the instructor has the ability to go through that process and look at that. I don't have that.
I don't think anyone has second round information yet because it just closed at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And
And we have this, yeah.
this,
I know.
that's an issue.
And we have taken that, the board has taken that under consideration. We really have. This has been a very difficult situation.
Pass those around.
A very difficult situation for us all. And what we have to think about is how that affects the overall conduct of the Career Center. And so it isn't, it's a very high risk And at this point in time, the board doesn't feel that the benefit.
When is that deadline? I'm just curious.
The deadline for what?
The decision by the AOE and the
Do you have
grants.
Ruth's? Yeah.
The papers that I handed out, I also sent email to the board members, all board members.
Thank you.
So you should be receiving that.
Okay. On March 12th, Ruth Durkee sent an email to Jody.
Yep, I know
Yeah.
about that, and Jody and I discussed it.
Right, but I want everybody to understand that the program would not qualify for any Perkins or time grant funds next year if enrollment is below 7. And AOE will have to formally address whether the program would qualify for state CTE tuition funds if enrollment does not increase to at least 7 concentrators after one more school year.
At the beginning of the school year, so in August, correct? So it's till August. And the documents that you're looking at right now, what's circled is the round 3s. And you can see the numbers increase versus round 2 and round 1 where there's virtually nothing. So it's the students who don't get into the program, who are unaware of design and fabrication because they've never seen it before, apply to design and fabrication because they'd rather go to a program than go back to their sending school. And I understand that, and I understand there are complications to that, but the process needs to go through to determine whether or not those students deserve to be here.
And then we run into so there's a lot of risks we have to take into account. And I wanna first say that both of these programs started with me. And so this is hard. This is really hard to think about. And I think both of them started with an understanding that we might be able to collaborate better with 2 different university systems. And those have not worked out for very different reasons, but they have not worked out. But for instance, I know Carl accepted 9 students into his program for this current school year, and he has 5. And so we could accept 10 students into your program potentially from these new numbers, right?
Well, I think the available seats is 12.
Right, but if
you're talking about the numbers-
presume that
numbers
the 4 plus
viable.
the 6, because the 3 that are second choice and second round, that they applied
Yep.
first choice to open programs. If I assume that we took those 10, with no knowledge of what those students might have been involved in or anything else, if we took all 10, there's still a risk that they don't all come to us. And that's the hard part. And then we're up against these contract deadlines of we have to have those out in April. So how do we navigate this in a way that meets the needs of our community and our kids? And that's where I'm stuck. And so that's why in February, at the beginning of the meeting, I recommended that they close these programs. And we've moved forward and given hope to a lot of people in trying to do this. And now we're up against contract deadlines. And it's a risk. So this board could take that risk. And if we don't have those numbers and we remove those FTEs, then our overall 6-semester average goes down. And so that's something that could potentially impact more. And so those are the difficult things that we're trying to think about here tonight.
And just to add to that we really are, each one of us is really very upset by having to make a decision of this magnitude. It really is, it's very difficult on everyone. But we as a board have to look at the overall risk benefit of doing this and what it means to the Career Center as a whole. And that's why we have the motion on the table to close those 2 programs. Any further discussion?
Just have a question.
Sure, yes.
So is it not are the EMS one and EMS two programs not being counted as under one zip code and, for numbers?
They are under one zip code, and it looks like EMS one took in 6 students and has 7 applicants. I don't know how many of those are first choice and how many are second. I don't have that information, but it's a narrow margin to look at.
We would be keeping EMS one though. It's just the EMS two program that would be discontinued.
And we know they're the only ones in the state, both programs,
Right.
or maybe in the country.
So what changed between so it was the letter from Ruth that changed everything? Because the understanding was, like, I told you what I could bring into the program and what AOE said. So was this still an actuality, or did it just get critical after that letter?
For me, it got, I made that recommendation, and I stuck with it because I felt like that's what we needed to do, and we needed to make the decision sooner than later. And the board didn't. It's their right to make whatever decision they want. And then that email came, and that was concerning to me. And so it feels like a bigger risk than I thought it was.
As it was to us as a board to be told by the powers that be that it would be a significant risk to the entire career center to go ahead with this, and that's something of real importance to deal with.
Is that for each program or the entire center as a whole?
So it's for those specific programs, but those FTEs would not count in the future count. So if you had 6 students and 6 students, those 12 would not count in part of that 6-semester average. So it can impact overall budget because of that.
Do you have a dollar amount to that?
I do not. Do you?
The tuition amount, so what is it, $20,000
Per student.
per student? And that's an absolute rough, but it's,
Yeah.
within.
Yeah. Well, we have a motion on the floor, on the table. We need to vote, and difficult decision, but that's why they have us, to make those difficult decisions. The motion is to close Design and Fab and EMS 2. All those in favor? I need a motion to approve, or vote to approve. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Is there any opposition?
He's abstaining.
Oh, Guy, yes.
Alice,
Yes.
I just want to make clear to the 2 people that are here that are listening to this, that because of a technicality, I can't officially go on the record to vote, but I will officially go on the record to support my colleagues. As tough as it is, for me, we're looking at, how many more kids can we affect? And, we have needs in many, many, many areas. And that's the bottom line. So I just want to clarify that.
Okay. Any abstentions other than, well, Guy, you're not really an abstention. You're a nothing vote.
You and me, Guy.
Yeah.
I'm a analyst. I'm a
All right. So, based upon the quorum that we have in attendance, the motion carries. It is with great, really significant and great sorrow that we have to make that decision. But it is a decision that has been made not only by we as adults who are in charge of managing the Career Center, but also without having enough students or a guarantee of enough students, we need to make that decision. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for bringing your talents to us and offering your strong support for your courses. All right. We need to move forward. We are at 6.3. New hires, resignations, retirements, and reduction in force. What do we need to do?
Okay. First one we need to do is reaffirm the interim co-op coordinator.
Okay, the interim co-op coordinator was hired under the last board. So, Guy registered his support for hiring that person. He was at the time a valid member of that board, and sent in a yes vote to hire, but we just want to make sure that we have reaffirmed the fact that there was enough votes to hire the person to be the interim co-op coordinator.
Dan Boris.
Yes.
Boris, B-O-O-R-I-S.
Okay, Ann Voris. Dan, sorry, Dan, I'll get it. All right. So Dan Voorhees, and
Boris, B-O-R-R-I-S.
Voorris. Yep, all right, so we, so does everyone understand that that was our situation and we need to vote? And Guy, you can vote on this because you were a member of the previous board.
You're the reason we're doing this.
Yes, so we need a motion to reaffirm the hiring of Dan Voorhees as interim co-op coordinator.
I'll move to reaffirm the hiring of Dan Boris as interim co-op coordinator.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any,
Aye.
Any negatives? No, any abstentions? No, hearing none, motion carries. All right. Letter of intent for program instructors and lab assistants.
Prove that we can move forward with that and with board chair.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we need a motion to,
So moved.
okay, to have the superintendent and the board chair provide letters of intent for program instructors and lab assistants. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
You seconded it?
I'll second.
Yeah, I thought you did. Yes, I thought you did. and all that.
Waiting for it.
Yes. All right, any discussion? No. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. Any abstentions? Nope. All right, motion carries. Reduction in force.
We will need to do some reduction in force notifications or non-renewals before April 1st. And so move that as discussed in our executive session. So move that the chair is able to do that in cooperation with myself.
Yes. All right, so the motion is that in cooperation with the superintendent, the board chair is authorized to prepare letters of intent for reduction in force. I need someone, I need that
So
motion.
moved.
So
Thank you,
moved.
Jason.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All right, second, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any negatives? Nope. Any abstentions? Okay. Motion carries. Superintendent contract. The superintendent contract expires.
No, rolls over April 1.
Yes,
April
rolls
1.
over, but has to be completed by April 15th. And again, the chair and the superintendent can work that out. So a motion to authorize the chair to work with the superintendent on developing a superintendent contract.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I think that should say negotiate,
Okay.
just to, as long as whoever made the motions can approve that.
Do we understand that the word negotiate should be inserted in there too, so the
Yeah.
chair can negotiate a superintendent contract?
Yeah.
All right, by April 15th, even though it rolls over on the 1st, we'll get it done. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any negative? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, 6.4, equipment purchase.
So, our Perkins grants, we were approved to buy a brake lathe machine for automotive. The purchase price, I'm looking at a quote, it looks like it's about $23,000, $119.54. I need approval from the board to go ahead and purchase this item.
And just for clarity, what is a brake machine?
Brake lathe.
Brake lathe?
I don't know.
I.
So I think
Oh.
what they do is they can take that, brake, rotor and they,
Copper.
and.
Rotor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Realign it, recarve it?
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
no grooves in it.
Okay,
It was on our, we needed to replace it, and we had money in the Perkins grant, and so we asked, that was approved through the
okay,
Is 100% on the Perkins grant?
100%.
Great.
okay. And it's Perkins money.
Yeah, there was an additional allocation of Perkins money in January, so that was on the amendment to be approved. It was to be replaced next year, so replacing it now makes sense.
Okay. Alrighty, all in favor of, I need a motion to purchase
I make the motion.
a brake lathe.
So moved.
So
Thank you,
moved, I
Cory.
need a second.
Second.
Second, we got a second. Any discussion, now that we know what a brake lathe machine does? And all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries, and we'll put a big bow on that brake lathe machine. Alrighty,
It'll be green.
yes. Future agenda items, if we look at the other side,
Will you change the board development and goal setting? Is that part of our retreat? We made that in August for future agenda items.
Just for the notes, we do not need the executive session on the land agreement nor the negotiations this
Right.
round.
So we could actually adjourn
well,
very shortly.
let's just, future agenda items, anything that we want for board development? Are we looking at our equity policy coming up for discussion?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think I brought a report last month,
Right, so we'll have our
probably be May.
May, all right, so we'll bring that up in May.
Did I miss it that we, wasn't the School Board Association gonna look at our policies? Did I miss that?
They
went through that.
Did they
did.
do-
They
We
have been
went
doing
through
it.
that and we've
And we're all
readopted
done
or
with
updated.
all
Yeah.
of the ones that they went
All
over?
of
Yeah.
them.
We will have to develop a policy, because at the annual meeting, the vote was approved to, be able to have a capital fund, to allocate resources to a capital fund. So we'll need to look at a policy for that,
Yeah,
so let's put that on.
okay.
I have a suggestion. If we could spend some time thinking about the calendar of when kids apply to programs in these waves, first, second, third, and try and make sure that we're deliberate about when that is and when contracts have to be and when these deadlines are, so that we can just to make sure that we're doing it in the most thoughtful way possible, so we can avoid what we had to do today in the future.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
last August, or maybe it was at the June retreat, there was a date where we started to go through that, but we
Yeah.
didn't finish
Right.
it, so it makes sense to bring that
Let's
up.
do that.
Thank you.
All righty. And we can see our future program presentations, and to just look at this as a reflection and summary, I will just say this has been one of the hardest meetings I've ever been at. And I've been on school boards and I've been working with school boards for over 30 years and on a school board for the last 13. So it was extremely difficult, and I appreciate what you people are going through, because we went through the same process here. All righty. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second.
All right. It's non-discussable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.